welcome to another episode of the Mental Health Ranger, where we talk about all things mental health but from a psychosocial perspective. So as you can probably see, I'm back at base today in the office. I'm not ranging very far, and the reason for that was that I wanted to talk about a topic that is very close to my heart, but it's also very, very complex, and I felt that I would like to give it the attention that it deserves, but also without any distractions that I sometimes have when I'm out and about, dogs coming up and talking to me and people passing, etc. I wanted to talk about psychosis, which has been an area that I've worked in for many years and thoroughly enjoyed, to be honest. But the very nature of a psychotic illness can be extremely scary, and there still is a lot of misunderstanding out there, and it is still quite shrouded in mystery and shame to a certain degree, that when people do become psychotic, they are almost sheltered from the outside world, and for very good reason, to be honest. Now, like I said before, I don't think that we can explore the subject in its entirety. I've been working with people experiencing psychosis and studying it for the last 20 years, and so I'm not going to cover it all in a brief video. But what I wanted to do was really start to try and demystify it a little bit, but also give some hope to people who are maybe experiencing symptoms themselves, but also for people, family members, or for friends who are concerned about a loved one who is potentially starting to become psychotic. Now, they're obviously in frontline mental health treatments, if you will, then GPs and services would usually sort of look at the antipsychotic route, down the medication route, and sometimes there is a need for that. My point has always been, in the articles that I've written and the posts that I do, is that currently antipsychotics are used far too frequently without the right conversation around side effects, if at all, to be honest. And the conversation usually happens when the person is really in the midst of those side effects, so they're feeling really quite poorly, and I believe that conversation should come first. The problem with that is that when somebody is usually put on an antipsychotic, they're not always in the best place to have a discussion around medication because they're so unwell. One of the things that can slow down that deterioration, if you are a friend or a family member who is supporting someone, is nourishment and hydration and sleep. Now, these things sound really basic, but when somebody starts experiencing really intrusive thoughts that are, that or voices are telling them that they're at risk, that people are following them, that their house is bugged, that they do become very, very fearful. And they are at that point usually the most risk to themselves. So there are a few things that you can do to slow down that deterioration, and that is to try and help that person feel safe and create a place of safety, but also to really reduce any external stimuli. So it might be that they do need to be in the house with the curtains closed, and reducing that perception of risk that they're experiencing. The other thing is that when somebody is becoming unwell and they are potentially losing that grip on reality, is that they really don't drink or eat enough, and that in itself can then actually make things a lot worse. So something simple as speaking to a GP and saying, can we access some medication to help this person sleep? But then secondly, really ensuring that they're hydrated, because that can, if they're really dehydrated and not eating, then they can actually slip into a delirium if they start getting a water infection or anything like that. And that really complicates things and makes matters worse. So first and foremost, like we say, if you can reduce any external stressors that person's experiencing and almost cocoon them in a place of safety, ensure that they're drinking plenty of fluids to keep them hydrated, and try and support them to get some sleep, that in itself can be quite therapeutic and really quite effective. And usually when people are detained onto a mental health unit, the first thing that will happen is that they are obviously given medication to sleep. And that is usually really the most powerful thing, is getting sleep, feeling safe, and having some routine in place in and around food as well. So I hope you found that helpful, and by no means does that cover the topic in its entirety, and I will do some more videos over time and write through my blogs in terms of psychosocial approaches to managing psychosis, because like I say, it is my belief through my experience and my knowledge that applying a wholly medical model to psychosis is not always effective, and for some people who that's not an option for, they really don't have any other options. So that's where we really need to focus our work in terms of developing other ways and alternatives for people to access when they are psychotic that doesn't include being medicated. So if you liked the videos, then please tune in again to another episode of Mental Health Ranger. Thank you very much.